Make sure to practice self-care before and during the following content, and prepare for possible triggers that may be emotionally challenging. It may help to speak with someone about how you're feeling. Call EAP at 888-441-8674 or text HOME to 741-741 to connect with a crisis counselor who can help move you from an overwhelming moment to a calm place.
My first marriage was, um, now thinking on hindsight, it was volatile and abusive. I was 23 and we decided to go ahead and get married. 3 days in, we got into an argument, and the funny thing is I don't even remember what we were arguing about. It was something really trivial. And he just literally lunged at me, and then he backhanded me. And he hit me so hard that my head literally went back into the wall. You start looking for, why did this happen? How did I miss this? There was a level of guilt that I felt all of a sudden, and I started to begin to isolate as things progressed. It wasn't an everyday thing until 6 months down the road. He hit me, but this time it was different. I felt like I wasn't going to be weak in that moment, so I hit him back, and he literally started choking me. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to die. But I remember, saying a silent prayer in my mind, thinking that this might be it. We had already at this point had several issues with now infidelity, plus the abuse. That was like the big break for us, of me kind of deciding that I don't know if I can do this. I can't wonder if I'm going to be choked out in the middle of the night, because I finally decided to stand up for myself. That was the start of the difficultness of just me going to get the help that I needed and actually being able to take accountability. Meaning to say, I was abused. I felt worthless. I felt ashamed. And I felt weak. And those are things that you shouldn't, those are places that I shouldn't have stayed in isolation with, alone. And I almost did kill myself, and luckily it just didn't work. And then I just kept going to therapy, and I just kept working the steps, and I eventually began to make good decisions that led me the right way.
I'm John Linnon. I am a senior manager with Learning and Development for Training and Delivery. I have been with my partner for 20 years, married for 14. Because I was in a small town, I didn't feel like I could come out. Of course, I was bullied, right? The gay kid in school. Everybody called me names. I moved out of my parents' house pretty much on my 18th birthday, moved in with my sister. I was still afraid of rejection from my family. And after I did come out, of course I was accepted. My relationship with my parents got closer after that because they could finally see me for who I was, and I didn't have to hide anymore. When I was 18 and I moved in with my sister, her boyfriend had a friend, and the two of us met, and there was a connection there. He was very macho, and I like that about him, and it didn't take long for us to start dating. About a month after we moved in together, we were decorating for Thanksgiving, getting the house ready, but he picked me up and he threw me across the room. And that's when it started. After that, he cried and he said, he said he was sorry. He said, I'll move out if you want me to. And so I let him stay. And that was my mistake. Because it just got worse. If he had a bad day or even if he had a good day, and I had any conflicting views with the way that he was feeling, it was the same thing. It was met with punches. And then I learned, you know what, just don't say anything, right? If you don't say anything, he's not going to get mad. And then he'd get mad that I wasn't saying anything. I would go to work with bruises all over my body. Handprints around my neck. I'd skip family events because I didn't want my family to know that I was getting my ass kicked every day. And to this day, I never told them what happened. I can't tell you how many times I thought I was coming out of that relationship in a casket. And then one day I was coming home from work and I passed him on the road and I called him and I said, "Come home." And when he came home, he was all dressed up and I said, "Where are you going?" And he told me that he was seeing somebody else that he met at the bar a week ago. And at that point, that was my out. Because I knew that he would understand that cheating was a deal breaker. And he knew he was wrong, and that was the one time that he hung his head down and walked away.
All of the resources that we have here have been really crucial in my journey of coming to this full circle moment of now being the person that is here to help other people. But I had learned that I wasn't alone and that there were other people out there. They had done a domestic violence walk in October, and we went on this walk, and I remember feeling very empowered because there were people there that had some kind of experience in what I had been through. And I remember for the first time feeling like I'm not alone. I wanted to say I was a survivor. And that was the first time I remember thinking about that.
This was in the mid to late 90s. I remember hearing stories of men who went for help. They'd go to shelters saying, "Hey, I'm being abused." And they said, "No, you're not. You're the guy." I didn't have anywhere to go. I wasn't going to call a support line when society said this didn't happen to me. Luckily I work for a company now who looks at this experience and says, "Hey, you know what? That really sucks, but you can help somebody else. You can let people know that anybody can go through this."
So you don't know if it's your coworker, your friend, your family member. You don't know, but when somebody actually allows, you to have that moment and you make that exchange with them, and if they do tell you that and you need to find out what you can do to help, the resources are there to help you be the everyday advocate, or to give them the right resources or the place to call or the website to go to, or even making a safety plan and giving that to you.
Tomorrow's a better day. Get out. Once you're out of it, you can start to heal and you can start to meet people who will value you for the special person that you are. And accept that love. It's going to be hard, but expect the love, expect the kindness, and embrace it.